My landlord charged us a sunlight fee. It was a real line item on our monthly bill. When I asked what it was for, he explained with a straight face that our apartment faced south and therefore received premium sunlight that other units didn't. He said it increased the property value and we had to compensate him for the privilege. We were paying extra for the planet's rotation. Our landlord fixed our leaking ceiling by nailing a large plastic garbage can lid to the spot where it was dripping. He said it was a temporary innovative water catchment system. It stayed like that for the 6 months we lived there. Every time it rained, we'd have to climb on a chair to empty the lid before it overflowed. He called it tenant-led preventative maintenance. I had a landlord who would enter our apartment without any notice to inspect the air. He wouldn't look at anything or check for damages. He would just stand in the middle of the living room, close his eyes, and take deep, long sniffs for a few minutes. Then he'd just nod silently and leave. It was incredibly unsettling. We never knew when the air sniffer would strike next. My landlord tried to evict me because my curtains were unaesthetic. She sent me a formal warning letter stating that my dark blue curtains disrupted the building's exterior colour harmony and were causing her significant emotional distress. The lease said nothing about window coverings. I had to get a lawyer to send her a letter just so I could keep my own curtains. Our landlord installed a coin-operated meter on our shower. It cost 50 cents for 3 minutes of hot water. He claimed it was an eco-friendly initiative to encourage water conservation. What it really encouraged was us taking lightning-fast, stressful showers or visiting our friends' houses to get clean. He would come by weekly to collect the quarters from the machine with a huge grin on his face. My landlord kept my entire $1,500 security deposit because of a single smudge on a wall. In the official letter, he called it significant and malicious wall defacement. I had a photo from my move-in day showing the exact same smudge was already there. When I sent it to him, he replied that my presence in the apartment had deepened the smudge's emotional trauma on the wall. I had a landlord who lived in the unit below me. She would text me every time I flushed the toilet after 10 p.m, saying it was too loud and disturbed her sleep. One time, I had a stomach bug and had to use the bathroom several times overnight. The next morning, she left a note on my door with a bill for excessive nighttime flushing and auditory disturbance. When our oven broke, the landlord refused to replace it. Instead, he showed up with a used toaster oven he'd bought at a garage sale for $5. He proudly announced that this was a modern, energy-efficient upgrade and that we should be thanking him. It could barely fit 2 slices of bread, let alone cook an actual meal for 2 people. We lived off microwave dinners for a year. My landlord was convinced my emotional support cat was a security risk. He claimed the cat, a 10-pound ball of fluff named Mittens, could learn how to open the front door and let burglars in. He demanded I pay for a special feline-proof deadbolt that he invented himself, which was just a regular lock with a picture of a dog taped to it. He charged me $200 for it. Our landlord decided to repaint the building's hallways himself to save money. The colour he chose was a blinding neon yellow. It was so bright, it felt like walking through a highlighter. Worse, he only bought enough paint to do 1 coat, so you could see the old beige colour underneath. He called the finished product a vibrant expression of minimalist art. It just gave everyone a headache. I once had a landlord who would sift through our communal trash and recycling bins. If he found anything he deemed wasteful, like a pizza box with a crust left in it or a recyclable bottle in the wrong bin, he would take a picture of it and post it on a wall of shame in the lobby with the offending apartment number written underneath. It was humiliating. The lock on my apartment door broke, and my landlord's solution was to replace the entire deadbolt system with a simple hook-and-eye latch, the kind you see on screen doors. He said it was vintage and charming, and that modern locks were unnecessarily complex. I had to secure my apartment with a latch that could be defeated by a credit card or a stiff breeze. My landlord tried to charge me a pet fee for my goldfish. He argued that the fish, Bubbles, was consuming water that was included in my rent, and that the weight of his tiny bowl was causing undue structural stress on the floorboards. He wanted an extra $25 a month. I pointed out that the lease specifically allowed for small caged pets, and he said a fishbowl is just a cage made of water. Our landlord was an amateur inventor. When the building's ancient boiler broke in the middle of winter, he tried to fix it himself, using parts from a lawnmower and a microwave. There were strange noises, a puff of green smoke, and then the power for the whole building went out. He emerged from the basement covered in soot and told us all to embrace the rustic, off-grid lifestyle for a few days. I had a landlord who would show up unannounced and start gardening in the small patch of dirt outside my ground floor window. That would be fine, except he would talk to me through the window the entire time I was trying to work or relax. He'd just be there, 2 feet away, trimming a rose bush and asking me about my love life. It was like having a permanent nosy garden gnome. When a massive crack appeared in my living room wall, my landlord repaired it with clear packing tape. He put several strips over the crack and then coloured over the tape with a crayon that was roughly the same colour as the wall. He stepped back, admired his work and said, "Good as new. You can barely even see it." The wall looked like it had been injured in a cartoon. My landlord rented out the apartment's only storage closet as a separate micro-studio apartment. A guy was literally living in a 4x6 space next to my water heater. I only found out when I heard someone snoring from behind the closet door. The landlord told me to be quiet in the mornings so I wouldn't wake his other valued tenant. Our landlord was obsessed with the building's history. He insisted the ghost of the original owner, a sea captain named Barnaby, still roamed the halls. All building rules were supposedly direct orders from Barnaby. Captain Barnaby feels your music is too discordant for his spectral ears. Or the captain requests that you not use citrus-scented cleaners, as they remind him of a bout of scurvy. My landlord tried to pay the plumber, who had come to fix a major sewage backup, with a freshly baked lasagna. The plumber was not amused and threatened to put a lien on the building. The landlord then tried to get all the tenants to chip in for the bill, claiming that our collective flushing habits were to blame for the problem in the first place. I had a landlord who would use my apartment to host his own family gatherings when I was out of town. I found out because my neighbour sent me a photo of my landlord's entire extended family having Thanksgiving dinner in my living room. When I confronted him, he said he was just making sure the apartment felt lived in and loved while I was away. Our landlord decided the building needed a luxury amenity. His grand idea was a single rusty charcoal grill placed in the middle of the parking lot directly between 2 parking spaces. He sent out a building-wide email announcing the grand opening of the patio grilling suite, and then tried to charge a $10 resort fee to every tenant's monthly rent. My landlord was extremely paranoid. He installed security cameras in the hallways that he monitored 24/7. He would send me texts with critiques like, "I noticed you struggled with your keys for 12 seconds today. You should lubricate the lock." Or, "That's a lot of takeout you're bringing in. Are you eating enough vegetables?" It felt like being on a very boring reality TV show. The refrigerator that came with my apartment died. The landlord replaced it with one that was half the size and covered in dents. When I complained, he said, "Look, it gets cold. That's all the lease promises. It doesn't specify capacity or aesthetic condition." He then charged me a $50 disposal fee for the old broken fridge that he had a legal obligation to replace. My landlord believed he was a paint whisperer. He claimed he could tell a tenant's personality by the scuffs they left on the walls. When I moved out, he kept my deposit and sent me a long, rambling analysis of my character based on a few marks from my sofa. He concluded I had an aggressive but insecure aura and needed the money for spiritual cleansing of the drywall. Our building had a shared laundry room. The landlord put up a sign that said any clothes left in the machines for more than 5 minutes after the cycle finished would be confiscated and sold at his wife's yard sale. My roommate lost her favourite sweater because she was 6 minutes late. We saw it on a mannequin in his front yard the next Saturday, priced at $10. I had a landlord who was a fitness fanatic. He decided that the elevator was promoting a sedentary lifestyle and shut it down for 1 week every month, calling it a mandatory building health week. We lived on the 5th floor. He would stand in the lobby in his workout gear, cheering people on as they trudged up the stairs with their groceries. My landlord decided to upgrade our kitchen countertops. His upgrade consisted of covering the old cracked laminate with a roll of wood grain patterned contact paper. He did a terrible job, and there were air bubbles and crooked seams everywhere. He then had the audacity to tell us the rent would be increasing by $100 a month due to the modern rustic renovations. Our landlord was an aspiring artist and used the side of our building as his personal canvas. Without any warning, he painted a massive, terrifying mural of a clown juggling planets across the entire wall. Our building became known as the Creepy Clown House, and our windows looked out onto a giant, smiling nightmare. He called it a gift of public art to the community. When my toilet wouldn't stop running, my landlord came to fix it. His solution was to reach into the tank, pull out the entire flushing mechanism, and hand it to me. He said, "There, it won't run anymore." To flush the toilet, I had to fill a bucket with water from the bathtub and pour it into the bowl. He considered this a permanent and satisfactory repair. My landlord lived next door and would borrow our Wi-Fi. We knew because he was always complaining to us about the speed. He'd knock on our door at 11 p.m. and say, "Hey, can you guys stop streaming? I'm trying to watch a movie and it's buffering." He wasn't paying for it at all, but he acted like we were the ones inconveniencing him.